What up, though? So, my little glass of wine. I don't have my grapes, but I have my grapes. I want to talk to you guys today, real quick, about doing the work, doing the work that needs to get done across all spectrums, across any niche of work, business, spirituality, emotional, family drama, spousal drama, kids to parents drama, um, doing the work. The work is not pretty. The work hurts. The work is painful. The work unearths and uncovers so much of oneself that you didn't know was there, that you didn't know even existed in you. But when you are willing to genuinely, purely put in the effort to do the work, something beautiful happens along the process. And this is the part that we miss. We focus so much on the pain of the work. We focus so much on it's going to hurt. It's going to be tedious, laborious. And we know that we want to get to an outcome, but that process of the work that has to be put in literally is the part that keeps us from obtaining the objective, the goal, the maturation that we're seeking. And it's all predicated upon this word, work. When I used to talk to my mother, because my father was the athlete in the family. My father was a basketball player in high school. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to get scholarships to go to college, but he could ball, right? But he stayed as a young 20-year-old man. He would ride his bike in Cleveland, Ohio for miles, for 20 or 30 miles. He would go for jogs, right? He would do this type of thing. So he was the athlete, but my mother wasn't. My mother was the quintessential. She was raised to be in a church. She was the quintessential. She wanted to have kids and be the house, well, not the housewife, but she wanted to be the wife and just be a woman, all in her softness, right? She didn't want no parts of physical demands or labor and no physical activity, right? So when they had me and, I'm 13, 14, 15 now balling, my father, because he's the athlete, got me a trainer at the age of 13, 14 years of age. Because I was getting ready to go into high school and play varsity. My mother would look at me exercise and she would be like, I'll be out in the backyard doing my little sprints, push-ups, calisthenics, because again, at a certain age, you don't really have weight load bearing too much. But I was at that point where I was crossing over. But she was like, and then as I got older, 20 and 21, she started seeing my body develop and I'm lifting heavy weights. And I was in her videos, me benching 315, squatting 405, that type of thing. She's like, where did all that come from? And I'm like, Ma, I'm like, Ma, you got to work out. She's like, it hurts. Long story short, that it hurts, to do that type of work. It hurts to look like that. And that always shocked me because, she, it comes from a good place, but it just had me thinking. And of course, I was a personal trainer and I'm talking to clients. And of course, you have male and female clients that would come to you and, that's going to hurt or, you're pushing me too hard. Right. And the thing that I always found interesting when I listen to people, and this is just from an exercise dynamic, they want the body that they say, like they see on me, right? Because I was a trainer, or that they see in now on social media, on Instagram and different platforms. They look at this girl's body. You're like, I want that body. But as soon as you tell them, which they know now, the type of work that needs to be put in place to do it, oh, that's I can't do that. I can't do that. Okay. All right. Well, then you're not gonna get the body. You know what I'm saying? The time is relative because no one can say definitively if you start doing what I do, you'll have it in a year or you'll have it in 3 or whatever. Or if you see that influencer, if you start doing what she does, you'll have it in X amount of time. The whole thing that the industry has done over years has always been You work with me, I'll get you there in, 30 days, that type of bullshit, right? And that's all relative because I don't know necessarily are you that person that's going to put in the work? Because this shit is work, right? When I talk to my mentors, I have a mentor who, has about $500 million going through Chase Banks through his company, lives in Florida, does some great work. Has a yacht down there in Miami, Miami, Port of Miami. One of the few brothers that has a yacht down there, right? But when he talked to me and he mentors me, he's like, you gotta be willing to put in the work. You gotta be willing to go to the conferences. You gotta be willing to, stay up late, and sometimes not even sleep and then get right back up and go pitch, your deck to this company to let them know who you are, and you got to be willing to sit down with investors and talk about the P&L and EBITDA and everything, and really understand what you're talking about, the numbers. And he was like, but this calls for work. This means you're not going to be able to go out and go party, and go do this. You're not going to be able to go here. You're not going to be able to do this because you're the one working. You got to research this, right? And it requires work. And when he said that, I'm like, I'm not opposed to that because I do the work on my body daily. That's why I love it so much, because the body for me, this is the only thing, no matter if I'm broke or if I'm rich, it doesn't matter. If I don't have any money, I can go in my one bedroom apartment, or if I'm renting a room and I'm renting a room with five other people, four of the cots, I can get down on that floor. I can do push-ups, I can do crunches, I can do air squats, I can do air jumps, I can move this vessel, right? But because I understand, I'm willing to put in that work necessary to maintain and sustain a certain physique for what the average person thinks, and the person less knowledgeable thinks is just for the aesthetic. And the work that I do has nothing to fucking do with the aesthetic. Has everything to do with the discipline. So when I sit down with my mentor and I start a business a few years back in staffing that I have no idea about, but because I've been introduced to it through colleagues and friends of mine and other avenues, and I see the potential, what can be earned and what can be made and who I can take care of and how many people I can get, jobs for. This is a beautiful industry to be in. It's going to require work though, right? So I love the fact that I can take care of this body, and I do take care of this body, whether I have money or if I don't. But that's up to me to do it and figure out how to do it. Even if I don't have the means, the money, I do the work the calisthenic work to make things happen until I get the means, right? Because I understand this. If my physical is alert and at its best because of the work that I put into it, when I walk into a room, when I do get a chance to get a little bit of cash, a little bit of change, and I'm able to now adorn my body with attire that suits my physique, what do we say? The first impression is made before you even say a word, because people are looking at you. So people are looking at my stature, right? But it's because of the work that I did that everybody else is saying they're not going to do. I do that work, right? Not just because of the aesthetic, but I know lesser people look at the aesthetic first. Better people understand that's the intro to bigger things, because they see, oh, well, he's disciplined to do that and he works to do that. What else is he capable of, right? What else can he do? What else is he willing to sacrifice to make something happen over here, right? So it's all encompassing of the same thing, that it's all meshing together. Being willing to do the work on yourself, not when everybody's looking, not when people have something to say about you, not when people want to, say you look great or don't look great. When people want to say you're rich or you're not rich, it's not about them. It's about you being willing to sit down and do the hard things. If I'm struggling spiritually, why the fuck would I not get a book on meditation, on mindfulness? Why would I not go to a church or to a mosque or to a temple if I'm struggling to connect to a higher power? Do the fucking work. If you feel like you are missing something, go to a yoga class. Start somewhere, figure it the fuck out. But that's the work you have to do, because you're saying you feel lost on the thing, right? It's a simple thing to do. That's why they say he who seeks, knocks, the door shall be open. But if you don't, it doesn't say he who sits still is coming to you. It doesn't say that. You have to put in the work. Okay. If I'm struggling in my relationship, why would I not talk to my partner who I'm struggling with? If I have a problem with my partner, let me do the fucking hard work of talking to you about the fucking problem. Why would I avoid the problem if I'm saying you're my person and I'm your person, you're my person? Why would I not talk to you? Why would you turn your back on me and why would I turn my back on you if we're saying that we have a problem? Now, if we talk about it, we do the hard work of sitting down face to face. I don't like what you have to say. I'm not hearing you. You're not hearing me. But let's stay in this for a moment until we figure out what we need to do in order to hear each other. So we can get to what the ultimate goal is if we're partners, right? Do the fucking hard work, people. Quit running from the hard work because when you run from it, the only thing you're doing is it's going to chase you. It was funny because I have a beautiful lady and she's amazing, but she had this dream, and it was a powerful dream. She had something that she had buried in the desert, and she had to put it in the desert, but she started running away from it, and the thing kept chasing her, and it was powerful. And she, since she's worked through that thing, but when she shared that with me, I was like, damn, that's so real. Like we'll do our damnedest to try to say, okay, if we're in odds with one another, or because I'm talking about the relationship portion right now. If you're in a relationship with your partner, and your partner, you can't sit down and have a conversation about the tough topic at hand, about where you stand, about what's going on, about why you two have a disagreement. It's like that dream she had. As if you can't talk about it, what you're doing is you're burying your thoughts and your emotions, and you're not even bringing it up to the surface to the person you need to bring it up to, and you think you've set it aside, but what's happening is when you turn your back, it's chasing you still. You can't go through your day because you're lethargic, you're emotional because you love the person, you're not talking to them, you didn't resolve the issue because you feel like, well, I can't listen to them, they can't listen to me, and then it becomes this bigger thing than what it needs to be. Do the fucking work when it hits you, right when it hits you, so therefore you can get over the thing and get on to the next thing and the next thing together, because that's your person and you're their person. It's a simple thing, but we overcomplicate it. In business, if the work requires that you have to make 10 different phone calls to 10 different agencies to figure out where the problem went wrong with something that your team was supposed to do, you have to make those 10 phone calls. In those 10 phone calls, you get the answer given to you about where the problem was had, and this is how you can correct it the best you can within the time constraints that you have to correct it in. You have to do that fucking work. Now, again, I'm gonna say this with all of these examples: when you sit down and do the work, does not mean the outcome is going to be what you desire the outcome to be. In the relation, in the example of the business, you made those 10 phone calls, you found out where the bottleneck problem was, but because you're in a time frame and time crunch, it may not get resolved the way you need it to, and you might lose the business. That's what it is. And you might need that business. That might be the business taking care of all the bills, all the debts, all the responsibilities, all the investors. But you know what? You were that same one to build that business and get it to that point where you had that problem. So what you got to do now is go back to the drawing board and do the fucking work and get the next thing back on track again. How long it's going to take? Who knows? It might be overnight and it might take a few years, but you were the one to get it done the first time. I'm pretty sure you'd be the one to get it done again. In the example of the relationship, if you two address the issue and you sit down like two mature adults and you have a conversation, it may not turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out. You want to be in a relationship. She might say she don't want to. That's her right, bro. You were the one to find her. You'll find another one. Do the fucking work of saying, okay, I respect you. You have the right to have your position. This is the conclusion you came to, but we sat down and we did the fucking work. Now I got to do my part on the next part of the work, which is be single for a while and then figure out, who's going to be the right one for me. Doesn't mean I go into the next situation scared. She shouldn't go into the next situation scared for her. It's just meant that you two couldn't work it out between you two. And that's the outcome. And it might turn out where it was just, baby, I'm sorry. And she says, baby, I'm sorry. And y'all, make great love and y'all back on track again. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we all hope that is, praise, praise hands, clap, clap, emojis, right? We hope that that's the outcome. But you got to do the fucking work though, of talking, of going deep. You might get emotional. You might cry, bro. You okay? This hurt me. Say that shit. That's real. That's doing the work. Sis, it's okay. You might have to apologize. Get over your ego. You might have to apologize. It's okay, sis. But damn, do the work so that you two can see if it's going, especially if you believe that person, bro, is good. If you believe she's a quality woman, why would you not do the work and then miss out on the opportunity to be with her for the rest of your life? You only been with her for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? And you got this big argument. Do the work. We skip out on things that are great for us because we're afraid of what we know we have to do, which is the goddamn work, people. And I'm getting tired of seeing good couples, good business women, good businessmen not go after their dreams because the work that hits them smack dab in the face when the problem arises. You need investors, or you have a payroll of 275,000 this month and you only got 175,000 in the account, and you got to pay payroll in less than 5 days. You got to figure that shit out. You got to do the work to figure it out. And that shit ain't fun because your payroll, the other 100K that you need, this is someone's mortgage. This is someone's school tuition for their kids. This is how real this shit is. It's what I face all the time. Right. And, it's just like a surgeon who doesn't figure out how to really, the brain surgery on this patient, even though they're a acclaimed surgeon, they got to go to the drawing board because this is a very unique case, but they do the work. If these people can do the work, why will we not do the work for ourselves that we need to do in order to achieve the thing we want to achieve and be a part of people's lives, or bring people into our lives that we feel are quality for us to keep evolving? It all boils down to doing the fucking work, man, and respecting the process of the work. Just because you do the work does not mean the outcome is going to be what you think it's going to be. But this is why I talk about the 5 principles, and the third principle being the one where you convene with the higher power so you can rest in the faith that what is meant to happen is going to happen how it needs to happen. But what you don't want to do is not do the work necessary to bring about the outcome that you truly desire. Because when you actually do the actual work, ladies and gentlemen, you can now rest in whatever the outcome is. Because you're like, I gave it all I had and all I could do to make it be what it needed to be. And I let the cookies fall where they may and crumble where they may. The problem is you have the hurt because you didn't do everything you were supposed to fucking do. And you know that. And when you sit alone in your isolation, you look in the mirror, or you're in the bed by yourself underneath the sheets, and that song is playing that makes you feel all emo. Now you start to reflect and be like, oh shit, I didn't do X, Y, Z because you didn't do the fucking work. You see what I'm saying? Whereas when you do the fucking work, when that song comes on that makes you feel all emo, the tears are different. The tears are, man, I really did do all I could do. I really did say, okay, in my relationship, I did say, my bad, man, I fucked that up. I'm sorry. I really did say, you know what? I lowered my ego. I realized you weren't trying to attack me. You were just trying to make sure that I level up to the level that I should be at for me, not for you, but for me. And you just communicated wrong, but I understand that. Right? And when you give that to someone and you give that out to the ether, not to someone, but to the ether, to the energy, you do the work of saying the thing that was hard for you to say. Now you can go to sleep easy. Now you can be like, you know what? I wish him or her the best. They chose to go their own way because you know what? That was the right thing to do for them. And I did everything I could. I really did. Not the proverbial, well, I love them. That should have been good enough. No, that's not the fucking work. That's just the start of the process. It's like when you pray to Allah, you pray to God, and you say, I want to be a millionaire. You like, well, I did the work, I prayed to Allah. Nah, that's just a start, pimp. You believe in Allah, or you believe in God, great. That's just a start. Now you got to do the work to build the knowledge, to build the career, to build the team, to build, the platform, to be, you got to do the work. And then when you do the work, the funny thing is, ladies and gentlemen, just because you do the fucking work, this is the other part I'm going to speak to. Just because you do the work doesn't mean that you're going to get that ultimate goal of $1 million. You built the platform, you built the team, you built the messaging, you did everything you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? But you only got up to about mid 6 figures. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, life ain't fucking fair. But maybe that's where you are going to be. But what you need to appreciate, and this is where life gets tricky and it gets a little the quagmire of it all. When you start to appreciate that 6 figures because you put in all the fucking work and you're like, you know what? I did all I can do, and I'm going to continue to do all I can do. And you stay in the game, right? Delivering what you know you can deliver. That's when the powers that be start to bring the newness and the uniqueness things that you need to start elevating you to now higher six figures and then all of a sudden nine figures. And this is when you talk to people who have really done the work and they've been in it for a minute, and you talk to them and they have that authentic true that authentic conversation and statement. Man, it just one day just kind of clicked. It just one day just started. I mean, it was nothing that I did. It just kind of just start when you get that statement, right, from people. And you know what I'm talking about. That's the beauty of those who genuinely, authentically, and purely just do the work. They don't escape it. They don't run from it. They don't. And I say they because I'm trying to be that person. Every day, I'm trying to be that person. Even at 44, I'm trying to be that person. I'm trying to put in the work, not just in what you see in my nice biceps or my nice chest or whatever. That's all well and good because I do the work for that. And not just in the career of my business, on paper about to be nine figures, 2026, you know what I'm saying? On paper, I say on paper, because again, it all has to hit the accountant at the end of the year, the actual cash. But on paper, be nine figures, which has taken me pretty much 25 years to acquire, 26 years technically to acquire. So I'm working on it though. And the funny thing, if I didn't continue working on this shit, and the work on it is when my mentors hit me direct in my face with like, bro, you ain't doing it fucking enough. And I'm like, no, but I did this. Yeah, I did it. They shut up, man. You telling me what you think you did and what you think you doing. And I'm telling you, because they're like, I'm here. You ain't doing it. And I'm like, shit. Well, you have to say it. Well, no, they're like, okay, you can take how I said it, or do you want the substance? And I'm like, shit, you're right. Damn. Okay. That's the work. Me accepting what they're saying and not getting ego, not getting defensive, doing the work of getting to myself and saying, oh, I came to him. I paid him to tell me what I need to know. In a relationship, your person that's really your person, they're going to be a mirror of you. They're going to say things to you to say, hey, you said this the wrong way. I got like, damn, why I didn't mean to say it that way. Shit. Okay, my bad. But then you gotta be like, but at the same token, too, on the flip side, or is what I've said, was it wrong? And if they are true to if it was wrong, it was wrong. And you gotta say, okay, man, I really fucked up. I said it wrong and I'm telling you wrong information. Okay, cool. My bad, right? You gotta be willing to say that. Do the work of sitting down, stilling yourself, and do the work to say, okay, I hear what you're saying, pimp. My bad. But also, too, on the flip side, if the person is telling you and sharing something with you that you haven't seen before, you've been at this roadblock, you have to be willing to say, do the work within yourself. The work is within yourself to say, this is my person. I know they ain't saying nothing. I know they're not trying to hurt me. Especially if it's verbal, especially if it's verbal. Now, if it's physical and all that stuff, that's a different conversation. We need to talk about that. Please, help. No abusive, no abusive relationships. I do not subscribe to that at all. And especially verbal abusiveness. If you put belittling your person, yeah, don't do that. That's just all the way wrong. But I'm saying though, again, what we're talking about is doing the work of working on one's emotional, mental, physical self to be able to elevate oneself to that next chapter, that next level, what it is that you say you want to obtain for you. And that requires work, ladies and gents. If you want to be in a constructive relationship with a person or with your son or with your daughter or with your parents, you have to do the fucking work of working through the discomfort. If you want to get to a resolution, if you purely want to get to a resolution of, I want to understand you, I want to be a part of your life, I want to be with you. Now, again, if it's just that convoluted to where you've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, yes, you have to be weary and understanding that, okay, maybe I need to take a step back and just work on me and then let them do them. That is the work as well. Work comes in many different forms. Exercise. The reason why you always hear me say I don't care about the modality you choose is because training comes in so many different variations. Real training and real exercise comes in so many different variations because everybody's body, even though we have two arms, two legs, if I cut you, you bleed, you know what I'm saying? Men, we stand up to pee, ladies, you sit to pee, whatever, great, all that great stuff. But at the end of the day, there are different ways in which people train in order to get what they need for their body. You might be a cyclist, you might be a runner, you might be a swimmer, you might be a gym goer, you might be a kettlebell, CrossFit, yoga, Pilates, aerial yoga, Windsor Pilates, reformer, I don't know, skating, ice skating, roller skating, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, off-road cycling. It's so many different ways to get your activity in. So it doesn't matter what you do, but it's the consistency and the diligence and the purity of doing it to want to constantly evolve oneself that will get you what you're looking for, which is a body that will grow with you through this life and be at its finest points when you need it the most as you evolve through this life, because we all matriculate as we go through this thing, and we want our body to be at its best that it can be at each stage. Let's be smart. No one's saying that when you 65, you should be like a 20-year-old. No, because that's not realistic. Nobody's saying when you're 99, you're supposed to be like, you 35. It's not realistic that you're gonna function in that manner, right? But you want to be at 99 feeling like you're in your 70s. That is realistic. If you are 70, you want to feel like you're in your 40s and 50s, and it not look, but more so feel. Because if you feel that way, 9 times out of 10, you'll look that way. Okay. But you're doing the work to make that happen. If you're doing the work to make that happen, then it will happen for you. So I just really want to talk to you guys real quick, because it just dawns on me so often when I listen to people, because people come to me all the time randomly and tell me they love my body, and I appreciate it. I know they're just being kind. But the other flip side is when I do have a conversation with them and they're like, well, what can I do to be there? I'm like, well, what have you been doing? That's my question. What have you been doing? Like, you're asking me, but I know you probably have done something. And they say, I haven't done anything. Or they say, I can't because my work is this or this. There are all the excuses as to why they can't. I've been homeless twice. And even when I was homeless, I still had a gym membership and I still worked out and I still ate healthy. I couldn't eat a lot, but I ate healthy and I ate clean because I understood this. I wasn't going to be broke for very long and I wasn't going to be homeless for very long. And the reality is I can earn more money at any point in time and I can make buku dollars. But one thing I can never get back once it's gone is my fucking health. So I do the work even when it doesn't look like it's ideal. That's when I do the work. That's why I say in relationships, I always marvel at couples who can't talk through a struggle, because it's easy when you're telling each other you love each other and you're going out shopping and you go at nice restaurants and you're doing all the fun shit. It's easy to say I love you then. No, I need you to tell me you love me when you don't agree with me. I need you to sit down and have a conversation with me when you're not, because that's the work. That's you showing up to let me know, oh, you were homeless and you still exercise. Oh, you ain't had no money, but you scrumped them enough to get a gym membership and stay active and eat fish and eat whole foods and not go get fast food because you said it was cheaper. Because it's not cheaper. It's actually cheaper to get a bag of quinoa, a big bag of quinoa, spread down in little portions over 5, 6, 7 meals, as opposed to spending $8, $9, $10 in the States for fast food that it can only last for one meal. And that's going to tear up my body and give me high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and all that other stuff. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, when it got tough, I sat in the fire and I did the hard thing. So now I can sit here when you see me with the Twin Towers in the background, and you see me in Bali for New Year's with fireworks in the background, or you see me in Thailand or in Spain, you weren't there to see the work that I did when it was fucking hard. And doing the things when no one was looking with the container and just eating my little 4 scoops or 5 scoops of quinoa, and I grabbed a 2 pound bag of tilapia. You can say it ain't fish all you want to, but I tell you what, I have no inflammation in my body at 44. I have a lean body, even though I'm not eating as clean as I normally do, and I sleep well and I travel just fine throughout airplane flights. My ankles aren't swollen. I'm not sitting here, can't move and my body's stiff, sitting in the flight for 5 hours or 4 hours. These are all reflections of doing the work when it's not easy to do the work. So people miss me in relationships when they're having a tough time and they don't want to talk to one another, or the one wants to get mad at the other one and not say anything for a few hours or a few days and act like it's okay. No, that's not cool, because the work is now. The work is now. We got to figure out how to talk to one another. If we should say we love each other, you know what I'm saying? Don't show up. Don't show up and have your shirt off now because now you look good because you took steroids and you took all the supplements in the world and you feel like you jacked now, but you didn't do the real work. You know what I'm saying? because that's all gonna fade. And what I need to know is if in our relationship, if you can talk to me when it's tough, then I know you're gonna talk to me when it's good. And that's important because we're gonna have tough times. And if I can count on you will be there to talk to me when it's tough, then I know you'll be there to talk to me when everything is going fantastic. And I know we'll be able to really take another step for 10 steps forward because everything is great. But we actually take the 10 steps, 12 steps forward when things are tough because we're willing to put in the work, people. Put in the fucking work. Don't avoid it. When you avoid it, only thing it's going to bring about is the thing you don't want, which is the outcome you don't want. Or at least you say you don't want. But it was Khalil Gibran, and I'm gonna put it down in the show notes. He said, I'm a butcher it, but he said something to the effect of, "We have already received long before we've already received what we said we wanted long before we actually obtain it. We've already received what we said we wanted long before we actually obtain it." That goes for everything, good and bad and indifferent, people. So I'd rather do the work to bring about the outcome that I truly desire. Because if I said I want a good relationship, I gotta fucking be willing to work when it's not good. If I said I want to make money, I gotta be willing to make money when I ain't making money. That's real shit. That's real shit. You don't make money once the money's there. You make money before the money's actually there. You have the systems in place. You understand how to save, how to invest. You know how to put away 5%, 10%, upwards to 75% if you are blessed to be able to do that. You put it away no matter what, religiously. If I can go buy outfits for my girl, I can go put money aside so I can have a savings later on and have investments later on when I really can't function like I want to. But if I sit here saying, okay, well, I spent money on this, I can't spend money on this, then I'm playing myself. So I've already the thing that I said I don't ever want to be broke. While I'm being the thing, that's why they always say don't say what you don't want to be, because you're gonna bring about that thing. The mind doesn't hear the don't want; it hears what you want. Don't want to be. Want to be is what the brain tells you, right? We know this by now. We know this by now. So if I want a quality relationship, I need to be able to sit down and have conversation that's tough at times, but I know by doing this, this is me building a stronger bond, a stronger relationship. If I want someone to listen to me, I gotta be willing to sit down and listen to them. If I want someone to talk to me, I gotta be willing to sit down and talk to them. Right? If I want to make money, I gotta be willing to save money. If I'm gonna save money, I gotta be willing to invest the money. If I invest the money, I gotta be willing to, to spend it wisely when I do get it. Right? As far as the quantity to be able to spend it. Right? I can't sit on it. This is why I travel like I travel. It's why I stay in decent places. Because again, I'm not going to sit here because of the work that I put in and hold it in fear. Because I'm not broke. I'm rich on all levels. But I'm rich because I do the work before it actually gets here. And I'm willing to sit in the fire and do the work that most people are not willing to do. So I'm asking you, please be willing to do the work. Be willing to do the hard things. If you do what's hard, your life will be easy. If you do what's easy, your life will be fucking hard. It's easy for you to shrink and get defensive and to be mad and to step away from someone, turn your back on people and act like they hurt you. It's easy to do that. Why? Because it's a protect mechanism for you to protect what you think is yourself. But what you don't realize is you hurt you and everybody else around you. And so what's hard is for you to step out of that. What's hard is for you to invest and to save money and to start a business. It is hard because you don't know where to start. You don't know who to trust. But I guarantee you, if you work through that, in a few years, I am prime proof of it. You can have something that you can now travel, do what you want to do, fly where you want to fly, stay where you want to stay, eat where you want to eat, within reason, but on your time because you put in the work 8 years ago. I put in the work 24 years ago. And it's now culminating into where I can now do what I want to do. Am I out here buying Bentleys and flying private jets yet? No. I'm being honest. But can I demand my own time and move at my sleep in if I want to and then get up and go? Yes, I can. Can I eat where I want to eat? Can I stop in and see a movie at a random time because I want to? Yes, I can. Can I go for a long introspective walk or go to a beach if I want to randomly midday? Yes. But that's come from the work, people, that you don't see. Because I will tell you this, doing those things also requires me to have times when I still buckle down and just discipline myself for a week or a month. And I don't do those things. And I'm okay with that. And I don't see that as a problem because I understand by me doing this, I'm growing myself. But I do the fucking work required of me, man. And I don't run from it. If I want a relationship that's going to be beautiful and not just on paper and not just in front of social media world, I'm willing to have a tough conversation. I'm willing to sit down and have multiple tough conversations until we get to some resolution of we are each other's person. That's the only way we get there. But I can't get there if I'm not going to be willing to sit down and talk to the person. I'm not going to get there if I'm not going to be willing to sit down and say, hey, I fucked up. My bad. It's not going to happen again to that level. And if it does, trust me, I didn't mean it that way. I love you. Let's rock it out. This is the hard work. But if that pride and that ego sustains, you're bringing about the same thing you don't want. And I refuse to do that. If I said I'm gonna be in a relationship, I'm gonna be in a relationship. I'm gonna do the work. And if the work don't, if I do the work and it still don't come out, if she want to walk, in my case, I'm talking about me. And that's not saying that I have an issue like that, but I'm just saying it for the example. If she says that, if she says she want, that's her right. That don't mean I'm a bad person. That don't mean that I'm not a great, I can't find somebody else again. I found her, I'll find somebody else. She found me, she'll find somebody else. But that's the work that needs to get done, people. So be willing to advance yourself by doing the work necessary. You cannot escape it. If you do like my mama said from the beginning of this conversation, if you do like she says, oh, that's too much work, then you're gonna get what my mama got, which is, she's good, but she could be great. She could have been great for her health, you know. Um, but you get what you get. You know what I'm saying? Same way with me. If I don't invest my money well, I'm gonna get what I get when I'm older. You know what I'm saying? Luckily for me, I'm investing it well. Luckily for me, I'm building. You know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to do the work to make sure I bring about exactly what I want, not what I don't want. And I don't talk about what I don't want because it's not about that. Because I know the universe only hears the negative of it and is going to bring me what I don't want. So I only talk about what I want. I'm rich in every aspect because I do the fucking work. I sit in the fire of everything. Even when I fuck up the fire and I fuck up everything, I still sit in it like, hey, what do I need to do to fix this shit? I sit in it. When me and my shorty broke up, it was my fault because I overreacted. I overreacted. I did too much. And I came back and I was like profusely apologetic, but I was doing the work to let her know I'm sorry. It was almost like a romance rom-com because it was a period where it was like a day or two where I was trying to let her know like I'm sorry, I messed up, I overreacted. And we were talking on the phone and she was telling me she had some things going on that I was concerned about for her. So she was at a different location than me, and this is in Bali. And I had a scooter and she had a bike. So I tried to meet her at the public spot that she was going to be at, that I knew she was going to be at. She wasn't there. I got there. She wasn't there. So I tried calling her. Of course, I don't have Wi-Fi because I don't have the Bali number. So I hop on my bike and I go in the direction of where her house is. I didn't go to her house because I wasn't going to just pop up on her spot. I wasn't going to do that, because at this point we're not together. I'm trying to, crawl, cry, get myself back into her life, right? So I'm on the bike and let's say I'm going northbound, she's coming southbound, right? And I look over and I honk my horn, I see her, she shoots past me, right? I'm like, it's like this where the rom-com, romantic comedy comes in. I take a real quick U-turn. I don't know how to ride this bike all that smooth, right? But I take a real quick U-turn, almost fall, and I hit it, right? Because she's going fast. She got a sport bike, and I got a little dumbass scooter. But my scooter's strong. But so I'm like doing like 70 or 80 miles per hour, right? To try to catch up to her because she's gone, right? And I'm finally, I get up to her. I'm like, hey, honking. So she turned around like, what's wrong with you, crazy? So, but she gave me a chance to rectify, where I was wrong. But if I didn't do the work, ladies and gentlemen, if I didn't do the work of letting her know I fucked up, if I didn't do the work profusely letting her know I fucked up, because I did, and it's okay, it's no ego. people, nobody's perfect. Okay. And I'm not saying beating my chest as a man, like, I don't make mistakes. Yes, I do. If you know Marc Comar the second, I make mistakes. Okay. So my point is, but I did the work of trying to go see her, even to the point to where, luckily the timing has happened where we're in passing. She didn't see me because it was dark outside, nighttime, and so and in Bali's no street lights. So me doing the work of turning around and going 80 miles per hour to catch up to her. This is all the work in order to you know, show her I'm serious about wanting to have another chance with you, right? The work. But this is what relationships require. It requires, and this is what life requires. Is my point. I'm just giving a slightly romantic gesture. And someone would say, well, if you broke up once, you need to stay broken up. Okay, all right. I'm not going into all that. It's not about the relationship side of stuff. It's just more so the work that needs to get done in order to try to make things the outcome that you really desire them to be, even when things are your fault that as to why they are, not going ideally, right? That's my point of bringing that up. You still have to do the work necessary, and then you just leave it in the hands of the gods, or God or whatever, that it will work itself out. In my case, it worked out to where she forgave me and allowed me to be back with her in relationship. You know what I'm saying? And then, fast forward, here we are, right? But the work, the work, the work, the work, the work, the work. I already told you about the business side. When I was homeless twice, second time was just 4 years ago, or excuse me, a little less than 3 years ago. Before, uh, in a few months. I did the work necessary, getting a 9 to 5, still maintaining, building my business until I got it back on track, leveraging the 9 to 5, as well as working part-time training, which I, still have income coming in from that, part-time. So working 3 jobs, to get myself in the position that you see me in right now. Right. So again, do the fucking work on all levels when it doesn't suit you. So therefore, when it starts to suit you, it's like second nature and it all works out. And then people looking at you like, how did he do that? How did she do that? You know what I'm saying? Because you do the work. All right. Appreciate y'all, man. You know my saying, live well, live well, and be good, my friends. And I'll catch up with y'all in the next conversation.